here, you guys. I was like, what in the world are we gonna put on a shirt? Oh my gosh, we are here. We had was over there on Station Head and we were playing music, and I was waiting on excuse me, I was waiting on my clothes to dry because I had to wash my clothes. I had to wait till it dry. So let me tell you about my day yesterday. So I took me and I was supposed to have a meeting, and I literally went to sleep. Like I went to sleep. I was literally knocked out. I was like I took an amazing rest, and I said, "Oh, I gotta go live." And so I was supposed to watch Michelle Obama's interview with Robin Roberts, I believe that's her name, on ABC, and I missed that. And then I was supposed to get up and watch, Bobby Lights per the actual the reunion. So I had missed that. So then I had to get up, and so I was able to watch at least the Bobby Lights per Bobby Light I Love You per reunion. And so I definitely want to talk about this. And this is live, you guys. This is live. When you come into the room, this is definitely live. Hey, y'all doing? We are definitely here. And shout out to people that's going to catch this, in the replay. So I don't want to do too much talking. Okay. But before we get into the Bobby Lights per, we have to talk about Candace Owens. Candace Owens withdrawal support for Donald Trump following the midterm election. Candace said this: "You need to read the room accurately. Republican Candace Owens is over her former fave Donald Trump. During a recent segment of her talk series, the political commentator called out the 45 president for being paranoid and revealed he's not her current choice for the 2024 presidential election. Candace Owens, 33, reflected on the matter and shared her most recent and not so pleasant interaction with the ex-political leader. Explaining how clickbait headline resulted into the two falling out, she stated, "The Daily Beast ran a headline that said Candace Owens said Trump is a pro-vax because he's too old to understand the internet." She continued, "I never called Trump too old. I never once said that Trump not understand the internet, yet somehow he got the information and believed it to be true." They said Candace Owens said a personal interaction she had with Trump where he was rude to her led to her change how she feel about him. She said he's too angry and resentful to be a leader, that true leaders can admit they got some stuff wrong. Okay. Following the Rona epidemic, Trump railed support for vaccine, which Candace Owens and many other Republicans disapproved of. Candace Owens later interviewed Trump, and they publicly butted heads when the then president was animated about the vaccine's success. Subsequently, Candace Owens claimed that Trump was out of touch with his audience, adding conservatives should go easy on him because he's too old to do independent research. Okay, let me see. What's it? Okay, after the interview, Candace Owens revealed mutual friends informed her that Trump was being gutted into being angry with her, which seemingly worked. The Connecticut native said that Trump was quite rude to her when she finally saw him in person again. It seems like the incident ultimately made Candace Owens question her loyalty to someone who could be easily manipulated. According to Candace Owens, the trauma of the 2020 election have left Trump paranoid and almost likely to believe that everybody is trying to turn their back on him and stab him in the back. Candace Owens stated that while she's not convinced Trump won't win the 2024 election, she thinks he needs to do some hard self-reflection. This is a quote from Candace Owens. She said, "I'm not under any impression that Trump can't win in 2024. When I'm saying that Trump needs to take a good look in the mirror and a good look in the room and need to read the room accurately. He needs to exercise a tiny bit more humility when he gets something wrong. Trump is not perfect. I'm not perfect." After the segment aired, Candace Owens revealed that she's currently back in Arizona candidate Carrie Lake and Kentucky Representative Tommy. The Republican commentator has also been quite cozy with 2020 presidential candidate Kanye West. Kanye West recently insinuated he may be gearing up for a 2024 bid. However, the musician ongoing recent controversy will likely make for a highly difficult path to the presidency. So that is what was said. So I want to say this. A lot of people have turned their back on President Donald Trump. A lot of people have turned their back on President Trump because they feel like President Trump is, outdated news. Everybody is on Ron DeSantis side, and everybody said, "Oh my God, Ron DeSantis is definitely a good thing." And I disagree. I feel like Trump is still popular with Republicans. I feel like if Trump were to run today, it would be a tight race between President Donald Trump versus President Joe Biden if they were to run right now. I think Ron DeSantis is really good and popular in Florida, but that doesn't mean just because you're popular and you're really, really popular in Florida that it will play out on a national stage that you'll be popular in the rest of the country. When you look at Jeb Bush, he was the governor of Florida and he was really popular in Florida. But when he ran on a national stage and ran for president, he actually got beat very bad. So he did not even win the nomination of the Republican Party. So just because you're popular in Florida, that does not mean that you're going to be popular across the entire United States. Because when you run for president, not only if you're running for president, not only are you running for in your state where it happened to be in Florida, but you're running all over the country. So you may be popular, real popular. It might have been a red wave, in Florida, but that it wasn't a red wave across the country. So I don't necessarily believe that Ron DeSantis will be to be able to offer good, strong competition to President Donald J. Trump, because President Trump still have a lot of support, even though President Trump is not a good kingmaker. Because unfortunately, President Trump, he only want people to be loyal to him instead of picking good candidates that say, okay, you are moderate or you could run in this district and I think that you'll be a good look in this district. Didn't really do a good job running, picking great candidates, because the candidates that he picked, they pretty much lost. And they lost bad. So there was a lot of people that he supported was election deniers that really believed that the 2020 election was stolen. And so he picked those people instead of picking people and say, you know what, in this district, you would do pretty good. You're a good candidate. I think a lot of people, and you don't believe that the election is stolen, but I think that you are a good candidate that you should run in this district. He didn't pick people off of the basis of that. He just picked them if they just agree that if the election is stolen, and that's who he was going to pick to run in those particular districts. But I'm not going to throw Trump away. I'm not going to say Trump will not win in 2024, because if you underestimate Trump, that's when Trump wins. Because a lot of people underestimated him when he ran it back in 2016. They were saying that, oh my gosh, Trump won't win. He's bad for the party. He's a liar and all of these things. And then he started winning in the primaries, and actually he won in the general election. And he just so happened to become part of the fabric of the Republican Party. A lot of Republicans now, they want to play the blame game and say, oh, maybe Trump should sit aside. Maybe Trump should have not announced for president, or because it will hurt Herschel Walker chances in the general, which I highly doubt that if Trump were to announce he's going to run for president next week, that it's going to hurt Herschel Walker. No, it may help Herschel Walker, because Herschel Walker got 70% of the vote, of the white vote. He got 70% of white people voted for Herschel Walker. So I don't necessarily believe if Trump were to announce that he's going to run for president and next week, that it's going to hurt Herschel Walker. Not at all. Don't believe it. I don't believe that at all. I believe that it will help Herschel Walker. A lot of Democrats feel that Trump was to blame of why a lot of Republicans lost. And you got some Republicans that's saying that Trump, is the reason why a lot of candidates lost. I think in another piece, and I agree with them, a lot of the candidates lost because they were tone deaf, because they kept saying crime, 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 and many different other people. They should have ran on a plan and said, okay, this is my plan for inflation. This is my plan for abortion. This is my plan for when it comes to student loan debt. When you look at young people, millennials and Gen Z, they voted overwhelmingly for Democrats. They voted for Democrats. They did because Democrats understand, like, okay, let's do something for these millennials and these Gen Z, I hope I'm saying it right, that we're going to cancel student loan debt. And that's going to be real good for that base, because they are one of the strong base of the Democratic Party. What happened? Republicans from different states filed a lawsuit to stop getting student loan cancellation. So if you as the Republican Party want to expand your base or to get people added on to your side, why would you file a lawsuit to get to get, student loan debt not to be canceled. Like, I'm just not understanding that when you know that it's the midterm election and that you want to get some votes, why not support something like that? Because let's be clear, it's a lot of Republicans with student loan debt as well. It's not just Democrats with student loan debt. So I'm not understanding. I think the Republican Party is a messaging issue that already believe in just saying no, 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 no. But you have to talk about policy, about what are you going to do for the average American? What are you going to do for your base? And what are you going to do to expand your base? And that's something that Democrats have learned. They passed the infrastructure bill. They canceled student loan debt, even though it was challenged in the court. So hopefully it'll be overturned. I received an email today from the Secretary of Education that they're saying that, that they believe that they will win in the appeal. So they definitely filed for an appeal. And so right now everything is at a pause. But I think that will help a lot of Americans getting $20,000 forgiven of their student loan debt. I know it will personally help me, as many of my friends that have student loan debt. It will help them as well. And me personally, I believe that President Biden should continue to freeze student loan payments until a court decide whether they should whether he can cancel the student loan debt. Even though I highly believe that in the appeal that President Biden have the power to cancel student loan debt. And so we definitely see how that's going to play out. But I personally, even to the people that were saying that this is unfair for young people to get their loan canceled, what about people that don't have student loan debt? And I challenged that and I said, but what about the people that, let me see, what about the people that have businesses and getting tax credits? But what about people that don't own businesses? That's not going to stop the people from getting their tax, breaks, because it's people that necessarily don't have a business. And so this is from the U.S. Department of Education. Let me see, Miguel. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so let me not even mess it up. So this is the email that I received, because somebody said show the email. Child, y'all was a hot mess. Says show the email. Give me a second. Let me zoom in so y'all can see the email. Okay. So this is the email that was sent to me from the Department of Education, from the Secretary of Education. Here we go. So this email that pretty much everybody got, statement from the Secretary of Education, Miguel, District Court ruling on the Biden-Harris administration student debt relief program. U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel issued a following statement. We believe strongly that the Biden-Harris student debt relief plan is lawful and necessary to give borrowers and working families breathing room as they recover from the pandemic, as to ensure that they succeed when repayment restarts. We are disappointed in the decision of a Texas court to block the loan relief moving forward. Amidst efforts to block our debt relief program, we are not standing down. The Department of Justice have appealed today's decision. On the behalf, we will continue to keep borrowers informed about our efforts to deliver targeted relief. More than 26 million borrowers have provided information needed to process their application for release. And 16 million application has been approved and sent to the loan services to be discharged when allowed by the courts. Separately, we remain committed to taking other actions to fix longstanding issues in the student loan forgiveness system and hold school accountable for leaving students with mounting of debt and without the skills and preparation to find good jobs. Despite this decision, we will never stop fighting for the millions of hardworking students and borrowers around the country. So you clearly see that was given was given to the borrowers. And so we will definitely see how this is definitely going to play out when it comes to stuff like that. And when it comes to that. Now, let's talk about the weather. So a lot of places are having a cold, freezing, messages. And I feel kind of worried because, and I say this, and I feel kind of worried because in Texas, when we had the freezing weather, the grid system went off grid and the lights was turning off. And I remember people's pipes were busted, people were getting their homes flooded. So I kind of feel worried because Texas is on a grid that's not on, like the rest of the country is on some type of grid, and Texas on their own type of grid. And the grid was overworked because of the weather. And so what happened when it came to the grid, the lights and stuff were turning off, so people were, wasn't able to, warm water. The lights was off, and people wasn't able to have heat, and some people even died. So I'm kind of worried every time around winter. I'm kind of worried because in Texas it's quite weird. Now in Chicago or New York, they don't have those problems because they're used to having below zero weather, and their grid system is pretty reliable. But Texas is just unfortunate. I don't know who decided. Maybe it was our governor decided to say, hey, let's have our own grid, let's do our own thing. And the grid system that they have is not that reliable. Even when we have right now, because like right now I'm going grocery shopping, I'm getting perishable goods, canned goods, Vienna sausages and stuff that, something I can, or some bread, crackers and bottled water, because Texas unfortunately is not that reliable. So already I'm stocking my refrigerator up with water, bread, like crackers or something to snack on, because the system is just not that reliable. And this is something, eventually Texas will be blue. And I'm going to say this, and y'all hear this in 2022, when the next governor run for governor in Texas. I believe that a black choice would definitely win that decision. And I say it humbly. I feel like if a black person were to run for governor in the state of Texas, I believe it will help. Even with Beto, even though he lost, but it wasn't like a blowout. And so the next governor, that's just another stepping stone. Like, we're getting closer and closer of winning the governor mansion in Texas. So I believe the next candidate should be a black woman. I don't really prefer a black woman. I prefer a black man, because a black woman, typically you get a lot of black men that don't want to vote for a black. You get a lot of black men that don't want to vote for a black woman. So, but I do believe if a black man were to run for governor, I do believe that they have a strong possibility of winning. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So yes. So somebody said in the chat, thank God you have home, Chicago, to fly back home if worse comes to worse. Yes, and I've already told my mom. I said, listen, if I have to fly back home because of the condition, I definitely will. Would fly. Would fly back home. That's something that I can do. Stuff like that. Let me see. I'm just giving my opinion. Somebody said. Maybe no, not Stacey Abrams. Even though she's a good person, maybe she's a good cabinet person. Maybe she can work in education. Maybe she can work in a part of our country. But I don't think she can. I think she would run. She would lose in Texas. While I thought you was going the right way, I looked for you after the other way. I woke up to go, and now you're here. Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Thank y'all so very much. Hold on one second. Getting a phone call. Let me see who is this calling me. All right. All right, we got 177 people watching me in the middle of the night, so we thank y'all so very much. All right, let's go to our other topic here. I want to talk about Nicki Minaj's husband, and this is something that a lot of people wanted me to talk about, and they sending me the emails, and I said, okay, I will talk about it. They said, Wiley, why you ain't talking about this? I'm like, okay, I'll talk about it tonight. All right, Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty, sues New York for unlawfully registering him as a sex offender. Nicki Minaj's Kenneth Petty is attempting to regain control of the narrative surrounding his criminal status. The husband of superstar rap artist Nicki Minaj has reportedly filed legal documents against the state of New York for allegedly unlawfully adding him to the sex offender registry. According to reports, the 44-year-old Queens native is arguing that the state did not properly notify him of a 2004 legislation that required him to be added to the registry. However, the state is reportedly seeking to have the case dismissed. As reported back in 2018, Petty was charged, convicted of attempted rape in 1995. According to the Grammy-nominated wife, Nicki Minaj, Petty was 15 and the alleged assault victim was 16 at the time. However, the incident still resulted in him receiving a felony and forced him to register as a level 2 sex offender in the state of New York. So a person commented this on Instagram and said, "Wait, y'all calling this man a rapist?" But it happened in 1994, meaning he was 16 or 17, and the girl was 16 years old. Must have been a white girl. Nicki Minaj responded and said he was 15 and she was 16 in a relationship, but go off internet. Y'all can't ruin my life. Y'all can't even run y'all own life. Thank you, boo. Now, Kenneth Petty is claiming he uh, never actually notified of the 2004 Sex Offender Registration Act hearing that is causing him to remain a registered sex offender. Prosecutor reportedly denied the claim, stating the court certified transcript of the hearing is both an official jurisdiction record in the plaintiff complaint. The plaintiff acknowledged his identity on the record. His counsel stated the plaintiff did not contest his he did not contest it as a level 2 sex offender. Okay, Kenneth Petty reported rebuttal claiming that his signature on the document was forged as he was incarcerated during that time. However, the defense stated that it is not uncommon for inmates to be brought from jail to necessary court hearing, called Petty forgery claim absurd. They stated the plaintiff counter implications that the official transcript is a forgery and nothing short of absurd, as the court is well aware incarcerated individuals are constantly being brought to court from prison. The state courts similarly routinely require the production of incarcerated individuals for court appearance, such as the SORA hearing at issue. The state reportedly requested the entire case to be dismissed, arguing that Petty had plenty of time to appeal the sex offender registry, appointing the legal doc Reed. Although the plaintiff admits to his felony conviction for attempted rape in the first degree in the state court, he still alleged that he was unaware of his sex offender status and risk level redetermination until he was arrested in March 2020 out of state for failure to register as a sex offender. From 2013 through March 2020, he alleged he was unaware of the consequence of fellow sex crime conviction. The SORA hearing transcript demonstrates that the plaintiff is 14 years late in the pursuit of this lawsuit. A court date for oral arguments in front of the court judge has reportedly been set for January 6, 2023. Early this year, Petty was placed on probation and house arrest for failing to register as a sex offender in the state of California. It's unclear if the current suit will have an effect on a probation status at this time. All right. So I want to say this. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not going to act like I'm a lawyer or anything, but why would you wait all of these years later to sue the state of New York and saying that your signature is being forged, which I believe that's a cow manure. I believe that's something to try to get it thrown out. I believe once he got with Nicki, I think Nicki has pressured Kenneth Petty to file this lawsuit because she is so tired of him not being able to travel with her when she go out of town, when she go to different places. He can't go to the school grounds, certain places in the neighborhood that she can't live due to him as a sex offender. But I want to research what is a level 2 sex offender. Let me go in a level 2 sex offender New York. Let me see what that is. Hold on. So that's a moderate risk. Level 2 is a moderate risk. Oh, so a level 2 have to register for life. Let me let y'all see this. Hold on. Let me zoom in. So let me see, let y'all see this. So, okay. So a risk, so risk 1, 20 years duration of registration. Due to him being a risk 2, life. You see that? He's a level 2, so he have to register for life. Wow. He have to wow. I didn't know he had to register for life. What? Let me scroll down and see. Okay. Okay, now this is something I want y'all to see. Okay, I got some more information. Hold on. I just scrolled down, and this is what I see when I scroll down. Okay, it said right here the Sex Offender Registration Act include the following provisions. Individuals who are level two offenders with no designation may petition the court to end their legal obligation to register after 30 years on the registry. Individuals may petition the court to have their risk level modified. Additionally, may also make this request. Wow. But since he did not register, I don't think he can get that. Okay. Wow. So he can't even be on the school grounds. Because I know when I was watching a documentary in Florida, because it's so difficult for sex offenders to have a place to stay, that it was some people living in the woods. I was watching that on the OWN network, and it was some people that was living in the woods because you can't live in certain neighborhoods by a school district, by a school or daycare. And since it's a lot of that around, it's limited where you can live. So a lot of the sex offenders were living in the woods. I'm like, what? And I'm gonna say this: that due to their crimes, and because at one point I'm like, wow, they have to live in the woods, but the crimes that they did, and there was one particular person had went back to jail because he went to a mall and hooked up with this 13-year-old, and he got back in trouble. And now it was another piece of this documentary that it was this guy that had to live in the woods, but he would go and visit his girlfriend and his baby. And so he was actually showering the baby in the sink, and a lot of people's upset. I'm like, why would you allow somebody that's on the sex offender list to do that? I just don't understand it. But yeah, definitely. And they have neighborhood apps to find out who is in the neighborhood. Yes, I remember that. I remember that because when I went, I can definitely pull up. Hold on. They say I look small. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let me leave that alone. Hold on, I almost dropped that. Okay. Okay. I remember okay, that you have to live in the woods because you're very limited. And so when it comes to Kenneth Petty, unfortunately, he can't be. I want to know, can you be around kids as because he's around his child, but she had a birthday party. Let me do some more digging. Okay, because she had a birthday party for her child. Level two sex offender. Be around kid. Okay, so right here, let me screen share. Okay, and I got to do California too. Okay, it say right here, level one and level two registered sex offenders are only restricted from being within 1,000 feet of school grounds while on parole or probation. Therefore, under New York state law, here are no residency restrictions once parole and probation have been lifted. Now that's under New York, but he's in California. Um, he's in California. So let's see California. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, let me zoom in so y'all can see this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So let's go. Let me see where okay, here we go. So, okay, let me take myself off screen. So they said California imposes certain conditions that restrict where and how sex offenders can live. Courts may impose parole conditions that say offenders cannot live near schools and parks. Laws also allow residents to go online to see if an offender lives in their neighborhood. As a general rule, registered sex offenders are free to move from state to state. But those moving to California must register with the state sex offender registry. Failure to register is a crime per Penal Code 290 PC. The statute requires registration with local authorities for such crime as rape, indecent exposure, sexual battery. Offenders must register within 5 days from the date of their move. He or she also has to renew this registration every year within 5 working days of the person's birthday and every time the person moved to a new address. A sex offender moving from California to another state must comply with the state registration requirements. Jessica Law is a state statute passed in 2016 and opposed several difficulties for sex offenders. The statute provides lifelong GPS monitoring of high-risk sex offenders, increase the penalty for sex offenders, broaden the definition of certain sex offenses, and eliminate good time credit for early release of certain offenders. Okay. Now this is the question I want to know: Can a convicted sex offender live near parks and schools? California says that convicted sex offenders can live near parks and schools. However, the courts may, one, impose sex offender residency restriction as conditions of probation or parole, and two, do so on a case-by-case basis. The residency requirements can prohibit offenders from living near parks and schools. In 2006, California voters passed Proposition 83, most commonly known as Jessica Law, which created predator-free zone. Jessica Law prevented registered sex offenders in California from living within 2,000 feet of any public or private school or any park where children regularly gather. For certain high-risk offenders, that required distance to increased by 2,640 feet. The California Supreme Court, though, found the law to be unconstitutional. The court ruling that said the law created a problem when applied evenly to all offenders. The problem was that it created a group of homeless offenders with limited access to medical treatment, drug and alcohol dependency services, counseling, and other services. As a result, the state law no longer provides a uniform prohibition. The courts can still make restrictions in terms of offenders living near schools and offenders living near parks, but they have to do so on a case-by-case basis. So this is an example. Marcos, who was convicted of raping his neighbor, he served his time in state prison, was eventually paroled. The court, as a condition of his parole, ruled that Marcos, sex offender parolee, could not live within 2,000 feet of a school. The court said the condition was justified after reviewing Marco's case independently from all other. Here, this is a legal parole condition and not a violation of constitutional rights. The court decision did not authorize a blanket parole condition that applied to all offenders. It only allowed the conditions after looking at Marco's case as it stood alone. This consistent with the law and looking at matters on case-by-case basis. Okay? Wow. So that's just how that goes. Her name was Jennifer, not Jessica. Oh, Jennifer. I'm sorry. Jennifer. Is it Jennifer? Wait a minute. Hold on. I thought it said, did it say Jennifer or Jessica? I'm sorry. What did I say? Jessica's Law. Okay, I'm sorry. Jessica's Law is it. That was Proposition Proposition Pro 83. Okay. All right. Okay, so let me read a couple of y'all comments. So if the state acted unjustly and it's fine because Nicki knew. No. Due to Jessica's law, due to their laws on the books, within 5 days of moving to California, Kenneth Petty was supposed to notify California that to register on the sex offender list due to the fact when he moved to California, he didn't notify them within them 5 days, and that's why he got probation and house arrest. Due to the fact of his economic status with Nicki Minaj, she got a good lawyers. They negotiated with the courts and said, "Listen, you got to be on probation. You on probation and you on house arrest." But he could have been arrested and could have been thrown back in. He could have been back in prison. But that was a good way to say, "Hey, you're just on house arrest." So now what Kenneth Petty trying to do, he's going back to New York. Excuse me, I get all sweaty with my armpits. So I don't want to show that. He go back to New York and he's filing a lawsuit with the state of New York saying that I was never notified that I'm supposed to be on the sex offender list. I never signed my signature on any paperwork. The signature is a forgery. So that is what he's trying to say to the courts. Okay. So, but what this whole problem with the whole thing with Nicki Minaj is because Nicki, let me see if I can find that. Nicki wrote this post or commented on this post, and this is what got Nicki Minaj in some hot water with the whole thing with the lady that was raped. I forgot the lady's name. Y'all bear with me with the lady name that Kenneth Petty raped. She wrote this on her to respond to one of her somebody that commented on Instagram. She wrote this, and let me zoom in so y'all can see it. Give me a second. Okay. This is what Nicki Minaj wrote. She said he was 15. She was 16 in a relationship. But go off internet. Y'all can't run my life. Y'all can't even run your own life. Thank you, boo. So she put it out there and said that they were in a relationship. And that's why the lady that got raped sued Nicki Minaj. Like she sued Nicki because she felt that and then I think she contacted Jennifer Hughes. Thank you. Jennifer Hughes, she contacted and tried to get her to drop because what Nicki and them tried to do, allegedly tried to get Jennifer to drop to say that to change her story because they tried to get him off of the registry list. Yeah, they tried to give off the registry list. And so that's just how that went. And so, but this is what got Nicki in trouble because Nicki inserted herself and she put that out there. Now, I do believe she got this information from her husband because I believe that Nicki got this information. Kenneth told her, said, "Hey, I was 15, she was 16. It was in a relationship, but go off internet. Y'all can't run my life." And that's what I think that she got the information from, right? And for all the barbs that said I don't care. She said what she said. And that's the problem with some of you barbs. Y'all want to say, no, she said what she said, and this was written on the Jackson brand, so we bringing it up on the Wiley Show because somebody did not see that. Okay? All right. So that's just how that went. Did anybody want to say something? Okay. Thank you. KLE said this whole Kenneth Petty thing is going to always be hot news because he's married to Nicki Minaj. Moving on to other subject. So we're talking about Bobby Blight's Purr. I watched it. They were fighting, and it was something that Bobby Lights, the whole thing with Island Boy, were saying that it was some problems why he didn't want to have sex with Island Boy, something that he don't want to get into. I do personally believe that Island Boy probably had bad odor, or he probably got some type of disease, and that's probably why Bobby Lights didn't want to involve himself with. And so when it came to Claudia, she didn't know anything about the cast. She shouldn't host it. And I want to say this because there's so many of these shows allow people to host and they don't know anything about the shows. And I have the same problem with these reality shows that tape with these LGBT reality series. They would have hosts that don't know anything about the cast, and they would have them to host a show. I remember with the show, the G Status, they was hosting they was having a reality show, and they were having a reunion, and I tried to host it. They didn't hire me to host it, but they hired other people to host a reality show, and the people didn't even know the cast member, didn't even know their name. So I don't know why they had Claudia hosting the reunion when she didn't even watch the show. And I'm not trying to be negative with Claudia because I follow Claudia. I think she's a good woman. I think she's beautiful. She's a good actress, underrated actress. But I feel like she don't know nothing about the cast, and I feel like they should have had gay host the show. And they should have had Armon host the show. So we had contacted, we contacted Kyle from Able to Talk, and he reached out to the Zeus Network, and they didn't respond. This show should have been hosted by himself or Armon Wiggins, because Armon knew the cast. He was very entertaining. He had order on his platform. I do believe that should have been, he should have hosted the show, in my humble opinion. I do believe that. And I believe that he should have did it because he was definitely a good look. I do. When I looked at Jason Lee, and I'm not trying to be negative on Jason, I just don't think that Jason, with his attire, wasn't all the way up, was that the best. But Jason also went to Twitter, and he had a couple of tweets, and we're going to bring those tweets up that he wrote on his Twitter account. So give me a second while I pull it up, because people was like, did you go on his Twitter? I said, not yet. Let me scroll down. Okay, give me a second while I zoom in, because I guess he got wind of what Armon was saying. So, okay, but I do want to just read some of his tweets that he wrote. Okay, right in here, let me zoom into that. Let me exit, stop screen there. We do this. Okay, this is the first tweet. He said, I'm glad everyone watching Bobby I Love You per reunion. They edited the hell out of it because the cast came prepared to fight. I understood people were upset, and I'm okay with a fight that has to happen, but it was a very unproductive event. Okay, but that have always been the reunion and so of the show. So that was that tweet. So let me see if I can bring out another tweet he wrote. Give me a second. Okay. This is other tweet that he wrote. While Claudia and I are extremely grateful for Zeus for having us, we definitely needed to do we definitely need to do a better job resetting the stage to allow for dialogue. The network gave these men a platform. After hours, I have to stop the show to explain how reality TV works. Use the platform, and I agree with Jason on that. Okay, that was that tweet. Okay, let me go to this tweet. All right. He said this, but now what you want to do in all the years we have Love and Hip Hop, we never had that much chaos for no clear reason. The audience may not catch all the social media drama, so whatever isn't seen in the show needs to be set up before you react, or else you confuse the audience. I agree with that. And this is why they should have had Armon clips shown on the reunion. I think their reunion should have just been Armon should have hosted it, in my humble opinion. I think he would have did a good job. Okay, let me see this post. Okay, this is another tweet that Jason wrote. He said this. It also said, if you choose to drink or whatever, it's still a job, and at the end of the day, be able to perform when it's showtime. Otherwise, you just a circus act. I agree, but that's with that. I want to say this, and I want to say this. That's on Zeus. Don't offer alcohol. Don't offer weed. Don't offer any type of substance when you're doing a reunion. Because a lot of people, when you have alcohol and when you're having all of the drinks and stuff like that, I've been in spaces where alcohol amplifies the drama. You may would have had, conversation and dialogue and all of that, but you shouldn't offer cocaine. You should not offer alcohol, because when you offer those two type of substance, they're going to act a fool, because you got that liquor courage. I'm going to say it again. You got that liquor courage. If you were sober to the point where you can have dialogue, maybe you would have sat and had a conversation with Island Boy. Maybe you would have sat and had a conversation with Ding-a-ling. Maybe you maybe you would have sat and had a conversation with any of those type of people, but you would have not been ready to drag and fight if you went under the substance of alcohol, under the substance of cocaine. And I don't believe that Zeus is giving the girls cocaine. I do believe the girls get cocaine on their own, and they get alcohol. Cocaine and alcohol don't mix. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Cocaine and alcohol don't mix. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Cocaine and alcohol don't mix and make you act a fool. Okay? It does. Let's go to another tweet, because I have to say that because I don't want to get sued. Okay. Okay now. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna try to. All right. I don't know if they're giving them coke, but I don't want to get sued. To say it's black plotation to be the same people watching it on a network where a white woman profits, so I'm not even entertaining the conversation. I agree, because a lot of people were saying, wow, you shouldn't watch that network. Is making black people look bad. But we watch a lot of mainstream media that degrades black people, but we're watching them and make them millionaires. So why not put millionaires and Mr. Plumbers that owns Zeus and make him a millionaire? Because we made a lot of black folks we made a lot of white folks millionaires, or off of the black entertainment, off of black degrading black people fighting, black people throwing drinks on each other, and we made them rich. We made Jerry Springer rich, and all he did had us on the show fighting. We made Maury rich, and all he did was having black people on there, baby mama, you ain't the baby daddy, and having black women on there crying, embarrassing themselves by doing a DNA test and testing over. We made them rich. So I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem making Mr. Palmer, the CEO, rich from Zoom. I don't have a problem. And see, when it comes to Funky Dineva, and I want to say this, and I want to say this, okay? Funky Dineva was like, I don't like Zeus. I think it degrades black people. But Funky, you put on a wig. You got fired from Sister Circle for being on cocaine. All of these situations. But yet you want to judge Zeus about what they do. But you have used your platform acting ignorant, showing up in wigs, degrading black women, showing up to people's houses, shitting in Michelle ATL house, did not pay Michelle ATL in the rent. She had to sue you. So you're not a good example of what it is to be black. But yet you want to degrade Zeus. I'm not understanding that, brother. Make me understand that. You acting like you were Mother Teresa in these streets when you out here getting in these streets. So let's not degrade Zeus, because if Zeus offer you a good check, you'll be tap dancing over there to Zeus. Okay? And they paid him really well. And I'm not trying to come at you in a different type of way, but did you get fired from using cocaine and getting all high and losing your job with Sister Circle? even though Sister Circle was canceled. But if you remember back in Sister Circle, fucking Anibu was supposed to be on the show, but they fired him because he was on cocaine. I had a reliable, so he said he got high, and that's why they fired him. And I know my good sis, Michelle Tielian, had to sue him because he left her place in a disarray and put had shit stains and urine stains and damaged her place, which she had to really get her place remodeled because he damaged it, and she had to sue him and actually had to get his YouTube check garnished to pay her back the debt and stuff like that. So I'm just able to give her yeah, you cleaned up now, but I remember your past. So don't act like you was Mother Teresa. You have a dirty, rocky, cocaine-infused past, so don't come at Zeus Network. Because this is business. Because if you had a network, you'll be doing the same damn thing. Oprah tried to do television and tried to do positive television and tried to get white folks and Rosie O'Donnell and all of these other people and stuff like that. Guess what? People didn't watch it. They didn't watch this own network. She was losing millions of dollars. It was a headline that said Oprah not standing on her own. The network was failing. Until one day somebody must have told her, you need to get some black people on there, get some reality TV on there, get some drama and some entertainment to get the black folks to watch your network, because more black people watch network television. More black people are watching Netflix. More black people are watching at a high rate. So somebody must have told Miss Oprah, you need to get some drama over here to get the people to watch your network. So what did Oprah Winfrey do? She called Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry bought some black shows over there, and it literally made OWN Network one of the highest rated network in the African-American community. But before that, Oprah tried to bring white folks and tried to do all that positive TV, and people didn't even watch it. Not even the white folks. Not even the white people watched it. Okay? So all the people that say, why y'all got shows like that? They have other shows out there that don't do that, but y'all don't watch them shows. It was a show right now. Let me go if I can go. Let me see if I can find it. Let me go to my Instagram because I think Roland Martin posted it. Oh, before we do that, yeah, let me go to Instagram and then we get back to Jason Lee. Give me a second. Let me go to Roland Martin because y'all always talking about shows and all that. So it was a show that was canceled. Let me see. Did he post it? No, he must have posted on his Twitter. Let me go to his Twitter. Anyway, it was a show that was canceled on Netflix. I think Selling Tampa. It was a show that was centered around black people selling houses and being real estate people. And they canceled that show because black people didn't watch it. Now, if they would have had that show Selling Tampa and you was in there fighting or cheating and throwing drinks on each other, black people would have watched it. But black people didn't watch the show of black people actually selling houses, selling multi-million-dollar houses. They didn't watch it. So what? What happened? Netflix canceled it. Okay? So don't come in here criticizing Zeus. And if you criticize Zeus to my face, I'm going to get you together. Because there's plenty of other positive shows out here that get canceled yearly because black people don't watch it, but yet y'all watching these other shows and then you want to criticize and say, oh my God, it's making black people look bad. No, this is entertainment. This is a business. White people have been profiting off us for decades, off the drama of black people. So why not a black owner get to profit off of black people? Okay? I ain't listen to no crackhead want to criticize Zeus when you was on crack. Anyway, let's go. So this is another tweet from Jason Lee. Okay, let me see if y'all can see that because I'm doing it for y'all can see it. Okay, he said this: I would absolutely create or executive produce another show with Zeus because they are great partners. But to host another reunion, we'll have to have some control over resetting the stage. But that's have been a big criticism. And I think it's because it's a lot of that liquor, because a lot of the cast get drunk and they don't know how to control their liquor. So I agree with him on that. Okay. Now somebody wrote this on his Twitter feed. He retweeted and they said this. It was heavily disappointed to see at least a few conversations about the season couldn't be had. And you and Claudia are extremely talented, and I'm proud of you both for keeping everything professional and doing it how it's supposed to be done. Then Jason Lee responded to the tweet and said, "Won't lie, we were disappointed. We love the guys and the show, and they could have been some great moments, and there are. But this first episode was wow and hard to watch." Okay, but that have always been a criticism of Zeus. That when it comes to the reunion shows, it always be a lot of fights. Let me see. Okay, so then it was another person that wrote this tweet because Jason was retweeting tweets that showed him in a positive light. So let's read this tweet. I love when at the only Jason Lee hosts any show. I'm here for it. He gets down to the nitty gritty and checks a mother effer when needed. I wonder if he a Leo because he have me sitting home and I was tight like him. They were giving toxic vibrations. And Jason said this, I am a Leo. So I'm definitely getting y'all to say all this stuff, and I'm not trying to be negative and all of that, but people have their thoughts. And I knew that it was the fight wasn't. I knew that the reunion was going to end up in fights because you get a bunch of bottoms that gay and liquor. This is why a lot of black clubs we don't have a lot of black clubs. This is why a lot of people have to end up in a hole in the wall because you induce a lot of this liquor in there. Some people doing crystal meth, some doing cocaine. They can't control the attitude. So this is why a lot of clubs don't play hip hop. They play a lot of top 40, a lot of white music. They may play one or two black songs because a lot of black folks, when they get all that liquor in them, they get into drama. So this is why they don't have a lot of, hip hop clubs. I was in Vegas, and I was like, where's the hip hop? Where the black hip hop? And some of the people say it's hard to have black hip hop clubs because every time we get one, it gets shot up or shut down, and because of the fights. And so most of the clubs I went to were white clubs, catered to the white people, because white people, they know how to act, even though they get sloppy drunk, but they know how to act. Right? And that's those actors, so they don't really have a lot of black clubs. And we got some Vegas people in the house. Y'all can let me know if that's true or not. We got a couple of Vegas people in the house. All right, let's go to we got Tommy backstage. Y'all know Tommy always call in. So let's see what Tommy have to say. All right, Tommy, you live on the air.
Wiley, you can't be the same person that's getting mad about the whole takeoff situation and saying that people are too ghetto and people are black people are being too ratchet, but yet you're defending Zeus, the people that entertain the ratchetness and the ghetto-ness. Like, come on now.
They're not out here shooting. That's just regular entertainment. It's in the confine of a reality show to entertain us. They're not out here gang banging and shooting people. That's totally different thing.
But they're still fighting. They're still acting ghetto. They're still being ratchet regardless.
They're still being ratchet, but it's not ending in a violent aspect where somebody's ended up in the grave. You know what I'm saying? So it's totally not that. And when it comes to Takeoff, when I was talking about what happened with Takeoff, it is very unfortunate it happened in Harris County in with low class blacks. That's just how that situation happened. But I have nothing against Zeus and the entertainment. I'm a huge fan of Zeus. I actually been in contact with Mr. Palmer, and I think that Zeus is an incredible network. And I think that it offers so much entertainment. And then also, people always talk about Zeus, but they show other shows. But y'all don't watch them shows. Y'all didn't watch it. They were showing other positive shows with Black China, showing other shows with other influencers. People wasn't watching it. but now y'all watching a drama. So it must be a question: is Zeus wrong, or is the people wrong for watching it?
But the problem is that they have influence. They shouldn't be indulging into that type of culture regardless. I understand that it's profitable, but come on now, like you, it's not it's not worth it. It really isn't. Because you're just putting a lot of negative influence and putting a bad light on the black community, and it's not necessary at all.
Okay.
Okay.
I hear your point, but I definitely believe that Zeus is a great network. I had a good time hosting it. I'm not hosting it, but watching it, and it's just a good network.
All right, Wiley, we got to agree to disagree, but not with Jennifer, this whole Ken Petty. Listen, I think that he might have a case because Jennifer really just ruined. She should never have spoken out the way that she did. I think she just should have just made a statement and let the courts handle it. And I think that's the problem because I bet you he's going to use Jennifer's claims because she has contradicted herself, and I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny uh, asked Jennifer's family to to go into the courts because Jennifer's family has spoken out against her, and Nicki didn't just make this out of nowhere. It was Jennifer's aunt, I think, and she said that Kenny and her were in a relationship. So I just think that this is a lot of factors that
I
we're
don't.
not considering.
I think that Kenneth Petty broke the law because he didn't register. You have 5 days to register in California. He didn't do that, so he broke the law. Number two, he pleaded guilty to a crime. You can't once you plead guilty and get convicted and say, "Well, I think the witness changed up her." You, it doesn't matter. She could change up her story into Kingdom Come. He have already pleaded guilty, and then also he have already didn't register in California and got himself in deeper trouble. So just because if you feel like Jennifer changed her story or changed a couple of details up doesn't matter because he have already pleaded guilty. He have already been convicted, and he have to register for life as a level two sex offender. So it's his fault, not Jennifer's fault. It's his fault for whatever he did, and also pleaded guilty. Because if he was innocent, he should have fought that case. He should have fought it and did not plead to something he didn't do. That's on him. And he must take ownership. Yes, he was young. Yes, he was a teenager, but you must take ownership for what you did. You pleaded guilty. So you can't say right then and there, oh, I changed my mind. This didn't really happen. It's too late. It's too late.
I understand that, but don't be acting as if like it could have been possibly unjustly this whole case. So if he, I think he has a case to be honest with you, and I think he's gonna win. I just have a feeling,
You
but
think
that's
so?
not gonna say why. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we don't have anybody else hitting the link to come on. So we thank y'all so very much for giving y'all thoughts about it. We was up early today. We gave our thoughts. We definitely want to give a special shout out. And also congratulations that goes in order to Armon. He is a new Fashion Nova ambassador. And I'm so happy for him. He looked it really good in his jacket, in his clothes. I think this is a good look for him because fashion is his key, and he have yet another win after his beef with Jason. He's now a Fashion Nova ambassador. Give me a sec. We got somebody else backstage. Come on, y'all, hit that link. Hi, welcome to the Wiley Show.
Hey, Wally, how you doing?
Doing good.
You okay?
Doing wonderful.
Good.
Yes.
You know what, Wally? You have been contradicting yourself. I haven't been
Okay.
watching you a couple of months, and basically I watch you for the laughs because you do. I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you, you need to get on stage and be a comedian. You got some good jokes, but when you get talk about serious topics, you're so contradictory. Like you,
Okay.
you you- you've lived a life, and you're only 32 years old. I'm 60 years old, and this is why I kind of feel like I can talk to you. I'm
Okay.
I'm 60 years old. You're 32. Now you sat on that program, and some of the things I've heard you say that come out of your mouth that you have done.
What things?
Just horrific.
What
Well,
things?
like you ran around the library, you
Okay.
fucked the white man and he shitted on you. Just stuff I have never heard in my life, and I'm 60
But
years
that,
old.
but
But I
what's
don't
wrong?
judge people. I don't
The
judge
library,
people. But
the
then you
library
saying,
situation happened,
but then
and it
you
was a
saying,
white man.
but you saying this man can't. He at 15 he did something and he don't want to be judged now. You don't want to be
That's a
judged for that
crime,
library shit,
ma'am. That's
right?
a ma'am. You
That
can't compare. You can't compare property damage to rape. That doesn't even in the same box.
no.
You
But
can't. You
but
can't
don't you
compare
think
the
a
two.
15 and a 16-year-old probably
You
was in a
can't, ma'am.
relationship? You
You
you, you
can't.
didn't you didn't have no boyfriend or
You
girlfriend
can't, ma'am.
when
That
you was
wasn't
a
the case. That was a
teenager.
lie. They
You
wasn't in a
probably did
relationship.
because
He
you
raped her.
didn't
You
know
can't,
whether you was the boy or girl. But
ma'am,
Wiley,
ma'am.
you know
That
what?
was a
You really
lie. They wasn't
disappoint
in a
me with your
relationship. That was a lie. He
attitude
attempted
because
to rape that woman,
you
and
better
he's on the sex offender list, ma'am. You can't compare me in the library situation of property damage, compare that to attempted rape. That does not make any sense, ma'am. That does not make any sense. Call back in because our connection wasn't working. Who else would have called back in? It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction. But I'm like, how's that contradiction? Yeah, you get the library situation. In the library situation, I'm 63 years old. In the ma'am, you can't compare property damage to attempted rape of a woman. You can't compare the two. Them is two totally different crimes. I'm 63 years old and you a contradiction. Man, what? Just because you 63, a senior citizen, that does not make what you said was right. That does not make what you said was right. Anybody else want to come on? We live. Anybody else? I'm 78, and what you said is a contradiction. Ma'am, please. They said Nicki. What's that, Nicki Grandma? Not Nicki Grandma called in. Don't let that. Was that Nicki Grandma? Oh, wow. Thank y'all so very much for calling in. I greatly appreciate y'all support. We definitely gonna just give her a minute to call in, but we came back live today and we did a couple of restreams, and you all were watching the restream. So I said thank you so very much. And I love the fact that y'all came in and y'all supported the show all over y'all social media. Y'all have watched the show, and I love that. And so we are back feeling so much better. We were under the weather a couple of days ago, and we're feeling much, 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 much better. I'm not coughing as much, and we're back. So thank you. And also, too, we will be back home. I think this Thanksgiving. I'm really excited for some Thanksgiving food. Um, Being back home, eating turkey and Thanksgiving and turkey dressing, ham, sweet potato pie, um, pound cake. I'm really looking forward to just having a good time to eat and to spend time with family. Okay. I think it's so great. All right. Thank you all so very much. Lemon T said, "Why do you want to make fun of your subscribers' age?" I'm doing a joke. I'm a comedian. It was just a joke. Lemon T, it was just a joke. Okay. It was just a little jokey joke. All right, Lemon T. That's what it was. It was just a jokey joke. Oh man. It was just a jokey joke. Okay. Let me see. It was something else that I want to talk about since I have y'all on. Did I save it? Let me see if I saved it. Because I think Dave Chappelle is in some trouble. Almost in some trouble. Let's see. Before we get to that, let's talk about Black Panther. So, Wakanda Forever. Let me take that down because we got 357 people. So Wakanda Forever, they as you see right now, Wakanda Forever kicked off with a 330 million global launch, set the new record for a November box office with 180 million domestic debut. Black Panther fan across the globe definitely showed up and showed out for the franchise this weekend. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably know that Black Panther Wakanda Forever premiered on November 11th. The highly anticipated film is the second installment of the Marvel Black Panther franchise. And it was definitely something that you guys, I watched it and it was a good movie. I watched it over the weekend. It definitely was good. Now, something going on with Dave Chappelle that I definitely want to talk about. Give me a second while I bring it up. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is here we go. Okay, here we go. So right then and there, the ADL have said we shouldn't expect Dave Chappelle to serve as society moral compass, but disturbing to see NBC SNL not just normalize but popularize anti-Semitism. Why are the Jewish sensitivity denied or diminished at almost every turn? Why does our trauma trigger applause? And that is what they said. Okay, Dave Chappelle did a SNL, and we are definitely, and that was from the ADL, and really sad and very unfortunate that have went on. I watched it. I didn't laugh as much because it was definitely something. It was definitely something. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna put hold on, wait a minute. That's not the number. Hold on. Let me use my cell phone. I'll give you my to call in. Somebody want to call in? Give me a second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. There you go. All right. Thank y'all so very much. No, you got to dial the one that I told you, the 6 7. This the one. Hold on, y'all. Okay. All right, we almost done, y'all. I'm so glad I went live. Yes. Oh, look at my friend. All right. If you calling in, it's the time because we're only here for a few more minutes. Excuse me. I'm gonna take me a good nap again. All right. Thank y'all so very much. I'm just wondering where all the folks were when he was wearing the tearing the black community down. And again, our own people never held him accountable. He got passes and yay as a genius. That's true. And a lot of our black organizations didn't even hold him to account. So that's just how that goes. They didn't even hold him to account. All right. Thank y'all so very much. And we will see y'all in the next live. Make sure y'all subscribe. Thank you so very much to the birthday wishes. I'm officially 32 years old for sending a super chat. Some of y'all sent cash apps. Thank y'all so very much for that. This is the I'll unable to go. Okay. Thank y'all so much. All right. And we will see y'all in the next episode. Okay. The number worked. You just didn't dial it right, Joe. I gave you I gave you the 972 number. All right. Thank you so very much. It worked. She just didn't dial it right. All right. Thank y'all so very much. We will see y'all in the next episode. Peace. Make sure y'all subscribe.